Ayurveda is made up of two words, Ayur and Veda. Ayur means life and Veda means knowledge, or sometimes it's translated as the science of life. And I personally like to translate it as like kind of similar to the Italian concept of la dolce vita, how to live life, the sweet life. La dolce vita. There are so many practices in Ayurveda that I really cherish as being very sweet and bringing a sense of bliss and contentment into our lives. So, and it's pronounced Ayurveda, not Ayurveda, like you're asking Ayurveda. It's Ayurveda. And so Ayurveda is from ancient India, and the primary language that is used in Ayurveda is Sanskrit. Sanskrit is, to people who speak Indian dialects, what Latin or Greek is to English speakers. And so all of the terminology is in the language of Sanskrit. And it's based on looking at the universe in terms of qualities rather than quantities. Western medicine is evidence-based, and it's based on Greek, the way the Greeks were exploring the human body and health, and it's based on the scientific method. And Ayurveda is based on observing qualities. And so if you've heard of the three types, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, these are the three doshas, you may think, well, that's really being too simplistic. How can we could just be one type or three types? And the reality is that there are about 6.8 billion people on the earth. And so Ayurveda does not discount this, that we are each individuals. In fact, it really acknowledges this. And the constitutions that we have to do with the state of the sperm and egg that came together to make us. But not only that, it has to do with all of our ancestors, everybody that came before us. All of those people have come and formed who we are. And that's not just on a physical level, but also on a mental, emotional, and spiritual level. So we have inherited traits that go back thousands of years as well. And Ayurveda definitely acknowledges that. We are all unique. We are each the sum of a unique equation. And so if you think that just figuring out your doshas, Vata, Pitta, Kapha, just is oversimplified, then it is. And often when you take the dosha questionnaires, people will come out as like, I'm tridoshic, I'm 33% Vata, 33% Pitta, and 33% Kapha. And what it takes is for an Ayurvedic practitioner to kind of help assess where you are and make sure that you're not adopting a false sense of what your constitution is. I am going to now discuss what the three doshas are. So dosha is a term, a Sanskrit term, that is most often translated as a fault or something that causes harm when it is functioning improperly. And the doshas are the 5 elements, and this is at a time when Ayurveda was just based on balancing, an older form of medicine that was based on balancing the 5 elements. And so the 5 elements are earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And some people translate the ether as space. Ether has such a Victorian sound to it. So space. Space is the element that is present when all of the other 4 elements are not present. So it's the absence of elements. And earth is heavy, dense, solid, stable. And when we talk about earth in terms of human constitution, we use the word grounded. And water is flowing, it's molds to the container that it is in, it connects one thing to another, a lake to a stream to an ocean. So water is a connector. And if you think of the water molecules are shaped like V's that hook together. So there's a cohesiveness to water, but yet it's not stable and immobile like Earth is. So there's a little bit of mobility to water. And then fire is hot, sharp, penetrating, and it's semi-stable. It will stay in a container if it is contained well, but it can also just run like a wildfire. And so fire is also attractive. When you build a fire and you're camping, people gather around the fire. And it has a metabolic component to it where it converts one material into another material. And then air is light and mobile and subtle, as opposed to earth, which is dense and gross, and it's variable and it's cold. So those are some of the qualities of air. And then space goes back to being stable like Earth, but it's stable at a very subtle level. And again, it's the absence of all the other elements. And so we're getting very into the subtle realm when we're talking about space. And so what happened historically in Ayurvedic medicine is that these 5 elements were boiled down into the 3 doshas. And so earth and water became the kapha dosha, and water and fire is the pitta dosha, and air and space is the vata dosha. So pitta and kapha share the element of water in them. And so what this means in terms of your constitution, physically, a person who, and I should say that everybody has all 3 doshas in their constitution, all of us. But we will have one dosha that is predominant, and then we will have a subdosha, and then the 3rd dosha is often in a very small percentage. So somebody who is primarily kapha dosha, the way they present bodily will be more solid tissues, larger bones, plentiful tissues, plentiful musculature, thick hair, thick eyelashes, thick fingernails, oily skin goes with the kapha dosha. And so kaphas they're sturdy and have healthy tissues. And then the bodily component of pitta is that pitta is the medium dosha, and so pittas will be medium size, medium bones, medium eyes. They have deep set eyes. Anybody who has red hair or the freckled redhead complexion has pitta dosha. And pittas tend to be, they have a strong musculature, and they are solid and strong, but not in the same way as a kapha dosha. And then vata types will have extremes in the way that they present bodily, meaning they'll be really short or really tall, and lighter weight, thinner bone structure, smaller eyes, smaller lips, smaller nose, and a rectangular palm and long fingers, thinner fingernails, thinner hair, and tendency toward getting some crooked teeth. So those are how the elements present in the physical body. There is also the mental and psychological and emotional, spiritual aspect to the 3 doshas. And so a balanced kapha mental constitution is somebody who's calm and steady and stable faithful, nurturing, loving, and full of love. Kapha types in a group setting are the ones that hold the group together with love, and they are very just pleasant naturally. They don't have a lot of worries and anxieties. Pitta dosha balance would be people who are ambitious, leaders, charismatic, and they tend to, in their mental thinking, they are very to the point. They're very clear, they're very linear. And so Pitta types will often have professions that require good elocution, where they're teaching. Lawyers tend to, a lot of lawyers tend to be Pitta dosha, politicians. And so these are people who are very, with the Pitta dosha, you want to think of metabolism. Pittas metabolize things well, and that includes information. And so Pittas will be able to take in information, digest it, assimilate it, and synthesize it, and then put it back out into the world in a clear way. And then mentally, the Vata dosha, Vatas are the idea people. They, remember, air and ether are the elements that go into the Vata dosha. And so Vata people will get projects going. They move people along. They get, the Vata person will get the family out the door when you have to go somewhere. They're very mobile, and they accomplish a lot in one day. They are not sedentary people. And so those are some of the mental attributes of the three doshas. There's more. I'm way oversimplifying, but that's a basic rundown of the mental aspect of the three doshas. If you would like me to create a customized Radiant Living detox and rejuvenation program for you, please email or call to schedule an appointment. My email address is patricia.wickman@gmail.com, and my phone number is 715-529-3061. Please visit the Radiant Living website at www.rlyaa.com for more information and pricing.